In LA this week.
I'm Anna Margos. Fixing a leak on 100-year-old pipes just isn't enough anymore. We'll tell you about this LA DWP project in the Hollywood Hills coming up.
They bring out the big guns for an event that's more than 80 years in the making. The U.S. Navy's Fleet Week arrives here at the Port of Los Angeles for the very first time. I'm Gil Reyes with the story next.
Free tuition for all music majors at one community college thanks to one very generous donation. And the city plans on rolling out the program at other two-year colleges as well. The story next. Hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yana Kay. A section of Van Nuys notorious for prostitution is a lot safer these days thanks to the arrest of some 200 suspects accused of pimping and soliciting sex from underage girls. Gil Reyes has more.
City leaders say this stretch of Sepulveda Boulevard has been a hotbed for prostitution going back decades. But Councilmember Nury Martinez says she's noticed a difference in recent years. Victims have gotten younger.
We often see little girls as young as 13, 14, and 15-year-old girls walking these two corridors along Sepulveda and Lankershim Boulevard. A lot of them have come from abused families. They often come from the foster care system, and they walk the streets of my district every single day, day in and day out.
But now relief, thanks to an LAPD task force Councilmember Martinez pushed to create, the Valley Bureau's Human Trafficking Task Force. Since last October, they've arrested more than 200 suspected Johns and pimps. Meantime, they continue to look for 3 more suspects accused of pimping minors in the valley. They are 28-year-old Ramon Armonderis, a transgender who goes by the nickname Paola. There is also 22-year-old Dion Trotter and 23-year-old Idam Perez. Past victims are also urged to come forward. Van Nuys resident Eduardo Gonzalez says he's complained to police about seeing young women on the streets at odd hours. But until recently, he says complaints have been ignored.
They say there is no emergency because maybe the kid is going to go to see our cousin or the familiar, but I say that's incredible. It's 2 a.m., the kid's in the street. I can't handle that.
Unfortunately, in police work, that happens sometimes. You know, the department handles millions of calls a year, and so sometimes the ball gets dropped, and that's unfortunate because we've made a huge effort to develop a partnership with the community. We've developed a way to communicate with us via email, which is largely the primary way we would like to communicate with them regarding this specific issue.
In Van Nuys, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Anyone with leads is urged to contact LAPD at 647-TIPS or at lapd.lacity.org. Well, you're desperate, you're confused, and you're pregnant. That's the predicament of many women seeking help at licensed pregnancy clinics across the city. Authorities want to make sure they're getting the free or low-cost services they deserve. Gil Reyes shows us how.
It is the law in California starting this year. Licensed pregnancy clinics must provide women information on all of their options. Those that don't could face stiff fines. City Attorney Mike Fuhrer says think of it as if your pregnant wife, girlfriend, or sister walked in
and doesn't know that she has access to this or to this or to this, everything from prenatal care to abortion services. And in that state of mind, is she going to make the kind of choice you would want your loved one to make without that information? I don't think so.
Well, that was so, according to Fuhrer, at Pregnancy Counseling Center in Mission Hills. After an initial warning to the facility, authorities returned a month later and found the clinic was still not providing that information. Here's how the clinic should have looked. Check out the wall. Posters and pamphlets available on free or low-cost abortions, prenatal care, and other services. And even if there's no such paperwork around, information should at least be told to women upon entering.
The most important issue that they're going to confront maybe for the rest of their lives. We feel it's essential that when they are confronting that important decision, they can have all the information you'd want for your loved one.
The city attorney's office threatened to sue, a possible $2,500 a day fine. Authorities returned the very next day and found the threat actually worked. Pregnancy information now provided, punishment avoided. So bottom line, the facility in Mission Hills walks away with a slap on the wrist, no fines, but the LA City Attorney's Office wants to make clear that any pregnancy centers not following the law will be prosecuted against to the fullest extent of the law whenever possible. Outside the City Attorney's Office, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
That information at licensed pregnancy centers must also be provided in both English and Spanish. Well, do you drive or live near Hollywood Hills? If so, get ready for months of increased traffic and congestion. But many folks are taking it in stride as the LA Department of Water and Power does a little rehab on an outdated water main system. Anna Marcos brings us more from the Hollywood Hills. Anna.
Yana, both city leaders and residents say this was a disaster waiting to happen. In the last 10 years, this pipe had had 30 leaks, and even while they were working on it, they often had to fix leaks.
You know, sometimes it's just a very slow leak that bubbles up, and sometimes it's a gusher.
Residents will have to put up with a little chaos and congestion, but most say it's worth it, as city leaders don their hard hats to help DWP workers replace a 100-year-old water main in the Hollywood Hills.
Having the pipe replaced is a lot less inconvenient than having the breaks.
The project is part of a new push by DWP to switch out water mains that have become too old to be efficient or safe.
We're going to pay for this one way or another. Either we pay for it up front now by doing the right thing, or we pay for it on the back end when these burst and cause a lot of damage and waste a lot of water. That choice seems clear.
Just this past December, in another hillside neighborhood in my district, a water pipe in Appian Way burst, causing an entire section of the street to collapse, which resulted in a mudslide that destroyed 2 homes.
In the next 10 years, city leaders plan to replace all pipes they have graded as a D or F, and most of us still remember school well enough to know what that grade means.
Planning it in advance, doing it in this process, costs 1/3 to 1/2 of coming in when something's broken.
Neighbors will have to deal with closed streets for the next 6 months, but the hope is it will bring another 100 years of trouble-free water pipes. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And the city also plans to double its water main replacement by the year 2020. Well, it rarely rains here in LA, but when it does, we want to capture as much as possible before it's gone for farming, irrigation, and saving money on our bills. Gil Reyes shows us another LADWP project in the valley that's doubling down.
After 5 years of drought in Los Angeles, this project aims to snatch more precious water on those rare occasions when it does rain.
Any water that actually drops here in LA, we wash out to the ocean. So we're changing that. We want to recycle and reuse our water that is here, and these spreading basins help us do that.
Mayor Eric Garcetti talking about enhancements underway at the Tujunga Spreading Basin in the community of Arleta. Crews are adding 2 new intake structures. They're expected to double the amount of stormwater captured.
16,000 acre-feet of water will serve about 50,000 homes every year. So this is going to be quite an enhancement of our stormwater capture in the city of Los Angeles.
Right now, just 15% of LA's water actually comes from LA. The goal is 50% by 2035. Projects like this will help. The site on the corner of Roscoe Boulevard and Arleta Street will also include an open space area and a walking path when completed.
It's also about beginning to create recreational opportunities for so many of my neighbors and the kids that go to school at Poly and Bird and the Skill Center. So thank you so much for being here. I've been talking to my neighbors about this project. They actually don't believe it's actually going to happen.
But it is happening and is expected to be completed in a couple years. In Arleta, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The city plans to launch similar enhancements at other spreading basins throughout Los Angeles. Well, turning now to the city's efforts to solve some of LA's most pesky old-school problems with new-age digital know-how. Anna Marcos shows us the final results of a joint brainstorming project with Google.
Yana, the Google point of view has invaded even the most bureaucratic corners of City Hall. And today, 5 big city problems get a cybernetic tweak, a moment in the cyber spotlight, and maybe even a new internet solution. Getting involved with city government may not be much of a trending topic for most Angelenos, but what about a future app that would allow civic-minded residents to leap into cyberspace and earn cyber badges for taking part in city government? Sort of like earning Girl Scout badges on app steroids.
There's all kinds of ways to get involved with the city, from tweeting out about something that needs to get fixed, to calling 311 and saying that you want some graffiti removed, or actually playing a game. And so we have created a prototype for a game like Pokemon Go that lets you go around and explore the city and try different kinds of things and earn badges that will actually give you real-life prizes.
The app idea is just one effort by city leaders to shake things up as they take part in the Google Innovation Lab, a joint effort by the city and Google to get city managers to find more tech-savvy ways to solve 5 of the city's biggest problems. After several workshops, the 5 teams are making their final presentations.
We are living, and you know it and I know it, in an era of unprecedented technology and innovation.
Another team has come up with the so-called Happy Homelessness Hub, a concept that would provide information on homeless issues all in one website. This team is working on more techie ways to keep citizens and different city agencies connected in case of a mass emergency in LA. And yet another team is creating a one-stop shop online for companies wanting to start a business in the city.
Our big idea is that it will be as easy for businesses to do business with a city as it is for them to do business with Amazon.
And if you're looking for a job, the city's got plenty coming up in the next few years as 40% of its workforce nears retirement. So this team is coming up with more online ways to recruit and encourage applicants.
Anytime, anywhere, civil service testing.
It's very important because we know that we are going to be possibly losing a lot of our employees who may be retiring or leaving the city. We definitely want to get ahead of it.
The plan now is to get funding to turn these Google-inspired ideas into cyber solutions that make a difference for LA and its residents. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Now, you may have noticed all the construction in downtown LA as the area is becoming perhaps the hippest destination in the world. And this growing reputation is not only helping bring in the big bucks from international investors, but lots of jobs right here at home. Gil Reyes reports on one of the largest projects on the West Coast.
We are going all the way up, 38 stories high, to the top of what will be the largest mixed-use development complex in the western United States. When completed, Greenland Metropolis will span 2 full city blocks just off the Harbor Freeway in downtown, with hotel, retail, and 3 giant towers of luxury condos. There will be 1,500 residential units, Chinese investment really booming in downtown right now. The LA Times reports 7 of the last 18 mega developments here have originated from China.
You know, this is a result that people believe in Los Angeles. I love that we're seeing investment from China, from Korea, from abroad. People believe in LA and know this is a great world-class city. But it's also the result, I think, of the voters of Los Angeles voting for infrastructure improvements. I think when people see a city investing in its infrastructure, they want to build from the private sector too. So they go hand in hand.
Mayor Eric Garcetti says thousands of construction and permanent jobs are created too. But will people actually live in these condos? There is speculation that the Chinese are simply buying up units to invest in, not actually live in. But the mayor is hopeful that with 70,000 square feet reserved for retail, developers have plans to move in bodies as well. Metropolis is expected to open in 2018. In downtown LA, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Chinese developers are doubling down in downtown, building 2 more mega projects across from Staples Center. Expect more luxury hotels and condos. While the LAPD needs your help in tracking down a suspect in a murder case, a special honor for the city of LA and the Montecito Heights community gets into the swing of things. All these stories in City Beat. LA City Council member Mitch O'Farrell and the Los Angeles Police Department announced a $50,000 reward to help investigators generate leads in a murder case out of the Westlake area of Los Angeles. The reward is being offered for the arrest and conviction in a case involving the fatal shooting of taxi driver Bilmaro Gurera Martinez on June 1st near the area of Temple Street and Alvarado around 8 in the morning. Martinez had already been shot when he crashed his silver Toyota Prius into another car.
My heart is so bad, but please help.
If you have any information, call homicide detectives at 213-484-3642 or Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS. The City of LA recently won an Amazon Web Services Award for its leadership and innovation in using cloud-based technologies, specifically cybersecurity. The city blocks an average of 140 million cyber attacks each month, protecting sensitive data of its residents and businesses.
Citizen data and city assets are our top priority, so it's extremely important that we take an aggressive posture.
Councilmember Gil Cedillo and the Department of Recreation and Parks recently dedicated a new playground at Montecito Heights Recreation Center on Homer Street. The newly renovated state-of-the-art playground features play equipment with shade structures, swings that promote play with adults and children swinging together, and more.
Some focus, particularly those who are playing in the leagues, on team building, on leadership skills, and on preparing themselves to be from young boys to young men, and young girls to young women.
I like it very much. I really like the web and the slide, also the swings.
The community also came together in Council District 3 for the grand opening of the LA River and Aliso Creek Confluence Park. The new park, which is part of Mayor Eric Garcetti's plan to revitalize the LA River, is located in Reseda and provides open green space with plenty of recreational opportunities. Amenities include a granite walking path, benches, shaded picnic areas, a low-maintenance and water-efficient demonstration garden, and native planting. The park is part of a planned 50-mile network of bicycle and walking paths along the LA River, connecting communities from Canoga Park to the ocean.
New York has their Highline Park. That's nothing compared to what LA is going to have.
If you have a kid in college, then you know it isn't cheap. Even at more affordable community colleges, you might end up paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per year. But not for one group of students, thanks to a record-breaking donation. Gil Reyes has more.
Attending community college isn't as affordable as it used to be. Ask LA City College student Amika Taylor. She says one of her textbooks alone costs around $100.
I'm full-time for the fall semester, and I still haven't received my financial aid, so I'm kind of worried about how I'm going to pay for these books.
But relief is coming for the college's music majors, who you'll often find on the campus stage. Their tuition will soon be waived.
It is the largest single donation to a community college in Southern California ever. $10.1 million going here to LACC, courtesy of the Herb Alpert Foundation. And yes, you heard it right the first time. This will fund free education, free tuition to all music majors. The freebies kick in next year.
That's the donor, Herb Alpert, whose signature 60s ditty Tijuana Taxi helped launch a music-producing and philanthropic career. Alpert's donation will also benefit the college's low-income East Hollywood neighborhood, home to many of the students.
And within each of those families is just as much talent and passion as any other family in any demographic. So I love that our community college and our community college district and our colleges can provide a place for people who otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity.
Area Councilman Mitch O'Farrell wants to extend free tuition to all LA community colleges eventually. Starting next year, a pilot program is expected to provide 1 year of free tuition for incoming freshmen graduating from LA Unified Schools. But to work, more donations are needed.
There's some corporation in Los Angeles who has their name on a building in LA, some large corporation who wants to train their workforce, who wants to make Los Angeles better, will write a check to all 9 of our community colleges. It'll cost about $70, $80 million. and we could make community college free in Los Angeles.
At LA City College, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Now, that 1 year of free tuition is expected to benefit 7,000 LA Unified students graduating in the spring. Well, who doesn't love celebrating birthdays? And when it comes to celebrating the city's birthday, it was certainly an affair to remember as hundreds of folks hit the streets to mark a monumental milestone. Rasha Goel has more.
Happy birthday to you.
Hundreds of people celebrated Los Angeles' 235th birthday recently by walking or biking along a historic route from the San Gabriel Mission to downtown Los Angeles.
We start the day off at about 5 o'clock in the morning in the San Gabriel Mission. We sponsor a walk and a bike ride. It's 9.5 miles.
The same route taken by founding families of LA, the Los Pobladores.
A small group of settlers and soldiers who set out from San Gabriel Mission 235 years ago. They want to find a place to settle along the Los Angeles River.
I try to tell my kids to not forget that it took a long time to make the city, and they had hard times to go through to get where it is now.
The festivities also included live music, dancing, arts and crafts, all beginning with a spiritual prayer. Councilman Mitch O'Farrell reflected on how Los Angeles also paves the way for a brighter future.
We are an example for the rest of the world. And so let that beacon at City Hall shine bright, because there is a way into the future where there will be peace, equality, and spirituality shared by everyone, the common human thread that we all share.
I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Los Angeles was founded in September of 1781. Heading over now to San Pedro, where Navy Days has been replaced with an even older tradition taking place at several U.S. cities. Gil Reyes takes us to LA's very first Fleet Week.
It began with a bang. The city's first ever U.S. Navy Fleet Week kicked off with the arrival of the missile destroyer, the USS Wayne E. Meyer, one of 3 visiting ships docked in LA this week.
Yeah, well, this is like Christmas. Yeah, definitely for us, and our staff's been working very, very hard preparing our end of hosting the Fleet Week.
The history of Fleet Week dates all the way back to 1935, when the city of San Diego launched the inaugural one. Since then, active military ships deployed to other parts of the world have docked at U.S. cities and have allowed residents of those cities to climb aboard and visit. But this year is extra special. This is the year that the city of Los Angeles officially takes part.
To celebrate our United States Navy, to celebrate our American history, and to celebrate the LA waterfront.
Los Angeles Mayor and Navy Reserve Intelligence Officer Eric Garcetti welcomed the Wayne E. Meyer and its crew. The ship from San Diego, commissioned in 2009, has opened its doors for free public tours on Labor Day weekend.
There's a forward 5-inch gun mount. You see a lot of sensors sticking up, and then normally you can carry 1 or 2 helicopters that have a lot of capability for anti-submarine warfare, as well as strike missiles against surface vessels as well.
Andrea Cohen brought her young children to help instill an early respect for the U.S. military and its lineage.
When we realized, the USS Iowa is sitting right here, we decided to come on and give him a little bit of history, even though he's not 4 yet. He'll be 4 next month.
Los Angeles welcomes the United States Navy and promises to express our gratitude to the men and women who make personal sacrifices to protect America's strategic interests.
And thank you so much to everybody. It is an absolute honor to be here in Los Angeles.
To the men and women of our armed forces, we salute you. From Fleet Week in San Pedro, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Visiting ships, the USS America and the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Active also docked in L.A. New York, Portland, and Seattle also took part in Fleet Week this year. And remember, LA's very own Battleship Iowa is open for tours all year round. Log on to pacificbattleship.com for more information. Well, LA wants to keep you safe. A new disaster drill at Union Station aimed to at least help fine-tune recovery and evacuation efforts of commuters. Anna Marcos has more.
It's a huge job to take care of everyone in a mass disaster, even when it's a disaster drill like this one. The Station Guardian drill at Union Station is a homeland security exercise.
We have about 90,000 people a day travel through the station, and we want to ensure that we are prepared.
There are no threats to Union Station at this time. This is only an exercise.
The training brought law enforcement, transit services, and emergency responders together for a joint drill on the evacuation of passengers and on recovery and resumption of services, rather than on the disaster itself.
We just want to go home.
Can you breathe? Do you have any heart issues or anything like that? No. Are you taking medication for anything?
No.
If in fact we had an earthquake, as an example, or there was an alarm of an explosive device coming in on a train, or if we had an unknown substance make an appearance at Los Angeles Union Station, we have to be prepared to react to that and to see about the evacuation of the public in the safest possible way.
Emergency workers say they can't do it alone, and they remind residents to stay vigilant in their surroundings.
If you see something, please say something so we can avoid it.
To stay notified in a mass disaster, residents can register with Notify LA by texting their zip code to the number 888-777. The system will keep you updated and informed, which can mean more safety for you and your family and a quicker recovery in the wake of disaster. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Emergency experts say you should always keep first aid kits in your car, at work, and at home. Well, enjoy wine and a movie under the stars at Barnsdall Park. If you love Mr. Spock, here's your chance to catch a special documentary, and a downtown theater lights up the night sky. All this in this week's Things to Do. In an exciting new partnership with the Cine family, Barnsdall Art Park Foundation is kicking off its wine and a movie fundraising series on Sunday, September 4th through October 2nd. The magical fall season of movies will take place on the lush west lawn of Frank Lloyd Wright's famed Hollyhock House, debuting with Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Other features include Jules and Jim, Black Orpheus, and Fellini's Satyricon. The weekly event runs from 5:30 p.m. until late, with the movies beginning at sundown, shown on a high-resolution outdoor screen with superior surround sound, atop scenic Olive Hill at 4800 Hollywood Boulevard. For details, visit barnsdall.org. Leonard Nimoy's son, Adam Nimoy, helmed this affectionate look at one of television's most iconic characters, Mr. Spock of Star Trek, and the man who portrayed him. The largest documentary project ever successfully funded on Kickstarter, the film weaves together archival footage and new interviews with cast members from the original series and current big-screen franchise to profile the life and legacy of Leonard Nimoy. The screening takes place on Saturday, September 10th at 7:30 p.m. at the Egyptian Theater located at 6712 Hollywood Boulevard. For more, visit AmericanCinematicCalendar.com. The Panorama warmly invites you to a day-long street festival celebrating the relighting of its restored 1939 neon marquee. Dedicated to the wealth of diverse cultural identities and their histories in Los Angeles, the Panorama will host a lineup of talented musicians, performers, and entertainers bound to dazzle adults and children alike. The Los Angeles International Neon Jubilee will kick off at 12 noon with a dedication featuring city officials and neighborhood representatives. From 12 noon till 3 p.m., the Echo Park Film Center will be on hand to offer animation activities and workshops for children and adults. It all happens on Saturday, September 10th at 1122 West 24th Street. For more, visit panoramaonview.org. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder, you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.